sigmas. There's something almost imperceptible in the air when you enter a room with one. It's not noise, it's not posturing. It's the quiet state of a man who knows where he stands and doesn't feel the need to announce it. In the calm of his presence, others sense something deeper. That subtle tension, that slight hesitation in someone else's voice when they speak to him. Not because he ever raises his tone, but because his very stillness says, I am here, I matter, I will not move for you. We often talk about the alpha man and the visible power he wields, the loud voice, the firm handshake, the spotlight. But the sigma male, the man who walks his own path, outside the traditional hierarchy, carries a different kind of power. He may believe he is quiet. He may even downplay his influence. Yet in everyday life, in the choices he makes, in the energy he holds, he becomes intimidating, often without fully realizing it. This isn't about showing off. It's about authentic internal strength. It's about a man whose value doesn't depend on applause, but on his own alignment. And it's about the way the world subconsciously reacts to that alignment when you stop seeking approval, when you stop asking permission, when you reliably deliver on your commitments. People notice. They feel it, even if they cannot fully articulate why. Today, we'll explore 6 subtle signs that reveal when a sigma male is more intimidating than he realizes. These signs aren't about flashiness. They're about consistency, inner calm, boundaries, and invisible signals. For you, whether you identify as a sigma male or simply admire this type of masculinity. These insights will help you recognize the depth of your presence, the value of your quiet power, and perhaps show you how people already respond to you in ways you didn't imagine. So lean back, allow the voice of calm observation, and let's walk slowly through these truths together. Because when a sigma man realizes his own weight, his impact shifts, and no one needs to raise a voice for others to feel it. Number 1, he speaks less, yet when he does, people listen. A sigma male often uses fewer words than most men around him, but when he chooses to speak, his words come from a place of clarity, not noise. This habit isn't just a personality quirk. It's rooted in psychology and social dynamics. In communication science, brevity is often associated with confidence and authority. People who speak less are perceived as more competent and emotionally intelligent because their silence signals control, not uncertainty. This makes listeners lean in, eager to decode every word that follows. Sigma males understand this instinctively. They don't waste words trying to impress others or fill awkward silences. Instead, they let silence do the heavy lifting. Research in social behavior even shows that pauses and minimal responses increase perceived dominance in group conversations. The sigma male's restraint, therefore, becomes a silent form of leadership. His calmness in speech mirrors his calmness in thought. When he does speak, he communicates with precision, cutting straight through the noise. It's not what he says that commands attention, but the way he says it, measured, thoughtful, and free of emotional clutter. This kind of verbal discipline is both rare and powerful in a world obsessed with oversharing. Others can feel it. They sense a gravity in his presence because he doesn't compete for attention. He draws it naturally. His silence unsettles those who rely on loudness for validation, and his words often carry more weight simply because they are few. The result is quiet dominance. It isn't aggression or manipulation, but a deeper, almost primal signal of self-assurance. People subconsciously recognize that this man speaks only when it matters, and that makes them listen more carefully. Over time, his concise communication builds respect and sometimes even intimidation, not because he seeks control, but because he embodies it. In essence, the Sigma male's speech pattern reflects his entire worldview: simplicity over showmanship, depth over drama. His clarity cuts through confusion like a blade through fog. And while others talk to be heard, he speaks to be understood. It's this deliberate contrast between his silence and his substance that defines his mysterious allure and makes his presence unforgettable. Number 2, he keeps commitments and misses nothing. In a world filled with broken promises, half-finished goals and empty declarations, the Sigma male stands apart for one simple but powerful reason: he keeps his word. Whether it's a quiet commitment made to himself in the middle of the night or a promise to a friend or colleague, his reliability becomes his unspoken signature. This habit isn't born from a desire to impress others, but from deep self-respect and discipline. Research in behavioral psychology shows that consistency is one of the strongest markers of personal integrity, and individuals who follow through on commitments tend to be perceived as more trustworthy, capable, and emotionally stable. A Sigma male's ability to deliver again and again builds a quiet kind of power, one that doesn't need loud affirmation or applause. It's his reliability, not his words, that people remember. Over time, this dependability creates a gravitational field of trust around him. Colleagues rely on him without hesitation, friends confide in him, and even skeptics watch closely, trying to understand why he never seems to falter. Ironically, his calm consistency can make others uneasy. In a society that normalizes excuses and last-minute changes, someone who shows up every time becomes a mirror exposing how unreliable others may be. That mirror effect can stir discomfort, even resentment, because his presence reminds people of their own broken promises. This is one reason why Sigma males often appear intimidating without ever trying to be. They don't speak loudly, but their actions echo louder than most people's words. Sociologists often describe this type of influence as behavioral dominance, the kind of authority that doesn't come from rank or aggression, but from quiet competence. The Sigma male doesn't need to control anyone. He simply leads by example. His discipline, punctuality, and respect for his own standards signal strength. This consistency becomes a form of social currency, earning him respect in workplaces, relationships, and communities. People learn that when he says he'll do something, it's as good as done. In truth, his reliability is more than a personality trait. It's a philosophy. It's the belief that words matter, that integrity isn't optional, and that greatness is built on small, consistent acts. In a world where promises are easily made and easily broken, the Sigma male's quiet dependability feels rare, even revolutionary. And that quiet reliability, more than anything else, is what makes him both respected and deeply intimidating. Number 3, he sets boundaries without announcing them. Public declarations, defensive stances, and loud refusals often reveal something most people don't notice: insecurity. When a man feels the need to constantly announce his limits or defend his choices, it's usually because he fears they won't be respected otherwise. The Sigma male, however, operates on an entirely different frequency. He doesn't need to tell the world who he is. His actions do that for him. Rather than debating or explaining his boundaries, he embodies them. If someone disrespects his time, energy, or values, he quietly steps back, never chasing validation or attempting to prove a point. This calm withdrawal speaks louder than confrontation ever could. Psychology recognizes this as non-reactive confidence, a state where self-assurance is internal rather than dependent on others' approval. It's a rare quality that naturally commands respect. Over time, people come to understand that there are lines they simply don't cross with him. His boundaries aren't written or shouted, they're sensed. This silent firmness has a profound psychological effect. Humans are wired to test limits, consciously or not, to understand where they stand with others. But when someone responds with composed detachment instead of emotional reactivity, it unsettles the dynamic. The Sigma's stillness communicates strength, much like a calm lion that doesn't need to roar to assert dominance. Studies in social behavior confirm that individuals who demonstrate quiet confidence are often perceived as more powerful and competent. Their restraint suggests control, and control, especially emotional control, is deeply intimidating. What makes this so magnetic is that the Sigma male's boundaries aren't built from arrogance, but self-respect. He's aware of his worth and energy, and he refuses to waste either on unnecessary drama. This kind of self-possession draws people in while simultaneously keeping them cautious. They sense that he is unshakable, not because he is cold, but because he knows himself. In a world obsessed with validation and noise, that inner composure feels both mysterious and powerful. Over time, the Sigma's quiet discipline shapes how others treat him. They adapt, recalibrate, and respect the invisible code he lives by. And that is the essence of true intimidation, not in loud threats or forced displays of dominance, but in the subtle, unwavering presence of a man who doesn't need to prove a thing. Number 4, his comfort in solitude becomes strength. Solitude is often mistaken for loneliness, but for the Sigma male, it is something entirely different. It's his sanctuary, a space where his thoughts expand and his energy regenerates. Unlike many who fear the silence of being alone, the Sigma male sees solitude as a tool, not a punishment. In psychology, solitude has long been linked with creativity and self-awareness. Studies from institutions like Harvard and the University of Virginia show that moments of intentional isolation can enhance focus, emotional regulation, and problem-solving ability. The Sigma male embodies this truth. When others are distracted by constant social noise, he thrives in the quiet. His solitude is not empty. It's productive, reflective, and deeply spiritual. It's in that stillness where he observes, recalibrates, and realigns with his goals. This is the secret behind his confidence. It doesn't come from applause or attention, but from understanding himself at a level few dare to explore. People often sense something different about him. He walks through life with an energy that says, "I'm complete on my own." That psychological independence subtly rewires social dynamics. When someone doesn't need validation or approval, others begin to feel drawn toward them. Not because of arrogance, but because independence is magnetic. It reflects emotional maturity, something rare in a world obsessed with external approval. Social psychologists call this the autonomy effect, the phenomenon where self-sufficient individuals naturally command respect and intrigue. This is why the Sigma male seems intimidating, not because he exudes dominance or aggression, but because his calm self-containment exposes others' dependency on external affirmation. His quiet strength reminds people of what they lack, peace with themselves. He uses solitude like an artist uses color, shaping it into insight, discipline, and purpose. In solitude, he learns, reads, trains, and reflects. He turns his inner world into a laboratory for growth. Ancient philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius echoed this mindset centuries ago, teaching that solitude was not withdrawal from life, but immersion in truth. Similarly, the Sigma male doesn't isolate to escape. He isolates to evolve. He emerges from his quiet like a sharpened blade, composed, purposeful, and aware. People call him intimidating because he doesn't chase. He attracts. He doesn't perform. He embodies. And perhaps the greatest irony is this: the very solitude that separates him from others is what ultimately makes others drawn to him. Number 5, he invests in what matters, invisibly. Loud success often echoes through social media feeds, parties, and boardrooms, but it's rarely as stable as it looks. It tends to impress in the moment, yet fades when the applause stops. The Sigma male, however, plays a different game. He doesn't chase attention, he builds foundations. While others measure progress by how many people notice their achievements, he measures his by the skills he's mastered, the habits he's refined, and the inner discipline he's built quietly over time. His focus is on long-term value, not on noise, but on depth. Psychologically, this mindset aligns with the principle of delayed gratification, famously demonstrated in the Stanford marshmallow experiment, where those who could wait for a greater reward later achieved more success in life. The Sigma embodies this principle naturally. He invests energy into what compounds silently: self-control, mental clarity, and adaptability. His growth happens beneath the surface, much like roots growing unseen before a tree bursts upward. While others are broadcasting their progress, the Sigma male is perfecting his craft behind closed doors. This behavior mirrors the quiet mastery observed in high-performance individuals across fields like martial arts, chess, and entrepreneurship. They understand that consistency, not spectacle, is what turns effort into excellence. Neuroscientifically, his habits reshape neural pathways through a process known as neuroplasticity, where repetition strengthens brain connections, making him more capable and composed over time. When his results finally surface, they don't need an introduction. They speak for themselves. A calm confidence that unsettles those who rely on external validation. People who once dismissed his silence now feel uneasy in his presence because they realize he's been evolving while they were observing. His success, built on patience and discipline, exposes their distraction and dependence on recognition. This silent progress creates an aura of intimidation, not through arrogance, but through undeniable proof. It's the quiet student who surpasses the loud ones, the colleague who delivers perfection without boasting, the man who lets his life, not his words, do the talking. In the end, what intimidates others most isn't his strength, but his solitude. The fact that he doesn't need anyone to believe in him for his path to unfold. While they watched, he worked. While they spoke, he acted. And when the results arrived, they realized he'd been building an empire in silence. One habit, one decision, and one disciplined day at a time. Number 6. He remains calm when others escalate. Conflict, drama, and emotional outbursts often reveal how deeply people crave control. But ironically, the ones trying hardest to dominate are usually the least in command of themselves. The Sigma male operates on a completely different wavelength. In moments of tension where most would raise their voice or react impulsively, he pauses. That brief silence, that measured breath before he speaks or chooses not to, signals mastery. This isn't avoidance, it's strategy. Psychologists call this emotional regulation, the ability to manage one's emotional responses rather than being ruled by them. It's a rare skill, and it commands more respect than aggression ever could. When a Sigma male refuses to be provoked, he disarms the manipulator. His calm feels unnerving because it mirrors back the other person's chaos. They call it coldness, but in truth it's discipline, an unspoken lesson in power dynamics. Historically, the greatest leaders, from Marcus Aurelius to modern Stoics and thinkers, understood that self-mastery is the ultimate strength. Science backs this too. Studies in behavioral psychology show that individuals who can delay emotional reactions, make better decisions under stress, maintain stronger relationships, and project confidence effortlessly. The Sigma male's quietness isn't detachment, it's awareness. While others drown in noise, he reads the room, decodes intention, and maintains control of his emotional landscape. This ability to stay centered, even when provoked, makes him unpredictable. And unpredictability is inherently intimidating. People can't manipulate what they can't predict. That's the paradox. True control doesn't shout, it whispers. It's not about dominating others, but mastering oneself so completely that external chaos no longer dictates internal peace. And when a man reaches that level of composure, his presence alone challenges the emotional instability in others. That's the quiet intimidation of self-mastery, the kind that speaks volumes without uttering a single word. Recognizing these signs isn't about ego, it's about awareness, seeing the depth of who you are and how the world already responds to it. If you identify with these truths, you're not just moving through life. You're walking with intention, clarity, and calm power. And if you recognize someone like this, respect him. This kind of masculinity doesn't demand attention, it earns it. If you found value in this, subscribe for more. Share this with a man who walks the path quietly. Remember, being intimidating isn't about force. It's about alignment so deep that the world naturally adjusts. Having said this,